Spice the Charm here on MyTCNTV. Welcome everybody to here to help you.
Greetings.
You. I'm hyped because it's the
Just
holidays.
hype. It's the holidays, yes?
It's the holidays.
Mm-hmm.
And I have all my family around me today. It's the
Peace and love,
holidays.
peace and love, peace and love.
I want to introduce, reintroduce, produce my
Produce. Nice.
Produce.
You see what's going on today, family.
my co-host with the most,
Roast.
Dr. Div Rankin.
Oh, baton physician, though.
Yeah, man. You
What?
know, see, you just don't have the papers to show that you're a doctor.
Well, thank you very much
You're
for
welcome.
the comments.
You're welcome, sir.
All right.
And then we have in the middle with us today one of my favorite people in the whole world. Her name is Brittney Channer, and I need you guys to keep an eye on her. She is going to be the lawyer of our future. I brought her on today because for people in your age bracket, a lot of the millennials, is what we call you guys,
I know.
are very involved in self, which is okay because you need to be involved in yourself, but they are not thinking about anything outside themselves. Then when you go to school and all those type of things, but the type of drive you have, I think, can motivate the masses, especially for your age.
Thank you.
Right? So today we are going to have some real conversation with Miss Channer.
Nice.
Yes?
Yes.
She just returned to school after 5 years, and I'm going to say big up yourself. She was able to graduate with this semester she got 3 A's. Yes?
Yes.
And a B+. Big up yourself, boy. So it's very exciting because you have to understand, after not being in school for a while, sometimes your mind, but I will say this, because you are a part of Here to Help, it kept your brain going. And you're doing
Absolutely.
great things right now.
Yes.
So
it's crazy.
first of all, Brittney, introduce yourself to everybody, and then I told her we're about to have some real conversation. And Dave, feel free to ask Brittney anything you want today, because today she's going to talk about her journey, her journey into becoming who she is, and how difficult that's been coming where she's from, having certain people in her life that don't mean her the best,
Right.
and how she's able to push past that and still be going after her law degree, which she will be attaining so that she can bail me out of jail and
She's
keep
not
me
getting
out
in
of jail.
trouble. She's not going to get in trouble.
That's just
Folks,
won't
it'll
allow
probably
her
be me
to.
first, so
I
don't
won't
worry.
allow her to.
So, Ms. Channer, please introduce yourself to everybody, and then just prepare yourself for the questions I'm about to come at you with, girl. Talk to us.
Okay. So you guys have seen me on the show before. You know, I've frequented the show, a couple of times, and I hosted the show with Dwayne.
Mr.
Bruce Dwayne.
Bruce Dwayne, big up
Big
yourself,
up, Bruce.
yeah?
Big up, big up.
Yourself. So when I had to co-host the show with him when you guys were away for that week, but
Yes.
you guys have seen me on the show. But my name is Brittney Channer. I'm an aspiring lawyer, and I know Simone hates when I say that because she wants
She's a
me to just
lawyer.
throw it out there. But I'm humble. I'm very humble. I like to make sure that I keep my mind right and just humble myself. That's something that I've been believing in before Kendrick.
Yes.
But I'm just
Sit down.
I'm just an aspiring lawyer, just trying to help our community, help my friends, help my people to get to a point where we can accomplish things without things like the media or things like legal means that's getting in our way because we choose not to know it and we don't know it.
Very, very true.
So-
So today, I know we're going to be doing a little bit of you work here today, and we're
Yeah.
actually be doing some work.
Yeah, we're gonna learn some
And we're
stuff.
going to also be teaching everybody today. So we're going to be doing a little bit of both. Mr. Rankin.
Yes, yes.
Would you like to start off? Pick any question you want to ask Brittney about her experience. Anything. Pick anything about her entire experience from birth till now.
From birth
From birth?
Birth
till now.
till now.
How do you
present.
spell that?
Birth,
Yes.
capital B.
Hold on. The last time all of us were together, there was a certain word that was used.
Dege
Which
sounds
rhymes-
like
which
It rhymes with reggae.
Yes. So
Get out, yeah.
as you can see, we are trending in that direction again.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Birth.
Bird.
Bird. How do you spell it?
B-I.
Uh-huh.
What?
Bird.
Birth.
I thought it was E.
Oh, it's true. B-E-R-T.
Really.
Bird.
Bird.
Yeah. There's no I. There's no long I.
There's no long
Short
eye.
I.
Short eye.
No,
None of that.
No.
So
Shout out to the
birth,
original patois spelling. You know what I mean?
from birth till now.
Uh-huh.
Pick up question for Brittney.
My first question
Okay.
is going to be, how was the transition now going back to school after it's what, at least maybe 4 or 5 years now?
5 years.
5 years.
Yeah.
So how was it different this time around going to school?
It was different because I knew what I was there for.
Okay.
I knew what I wanted, and I knew that whatever that distracted me back when I was 18, 19, 20 was not going to distract me now.
Okay.
I had a single vision. You know, people speak about tunnel vision. Going back to school I totally understand that phrase, tunnel vision, because nothing was going to get in my way. I wasn't going to allow it. Nobody, nothing. I knew that this was a stage that I need to accomplish or I need to succeed at in order to ensure my success. So for me, once I realized that Windsor is where I was going, I just realized that I had to just change up and fix up because money was on the line. There's a lot of things that are on the line, and it's not even just like a social aspect. Like there's a lot of things that you see out there that, well, there's a lot of things that people don't know, like the financial aspect. People don't know that, you know, I wasn't working as much as I used to on my job downtown. So you really have to scrimmage.
You have to struggle. You have to hustle.
I truly know what a hustler is now because I had to hustle. But the mindset was definitely in there, tunnel vision for sure.
Okay. And now with this new mindset now let's compare now, of course, 19, 20-year-old Brittney.
Yeah.
Of course, to Brittney now.
Absolutely.
Right, where the study habits.
Yeah.
So now, how different now was it for you?
Different. Studying habits, man. Like, for me, back when I was like 19, I was okay with a B+. I was okay with average because I've been hearing, oh, you're just average student. And, you know, the high school I went to made me feel like I was an average student. So when I got B's, I'm like, if I can emulate or I can, you know, mimic that back in, you know, in university, I should be fine.
Emulate. Just want to realize that she dropped that word.
You know, it's serious. And, you know, I had a lot of friends in Windsor, like I said, and this is how me and Simone connected. Like, we connected with our experience at Windsor University.
I don't know if anyone can see the W's that I'm throwing up.
Sorry. Everybody, I don't even know if I'm doing it right.
No, you're not doing it right. Shout out to the West Side. It will always be the best side.
I'm just going like this.
Well, you know, you can always throw up 3 fingers like this if you like.
Okay, but everybody knows what I'm trying to say because I fight Windsor till I'll let Simone do that. But yeah, can't believe I did that. But wow,
disrespect the things.
But yeah, like I barely studied. I didn't study to understand. I studied to memorize, and I think that's one thing that I like to teach my students when I'm working in the community. Don't study to memorize because your brain will sometimes fail you, but if you understand the story behind it, it's different. So you literally have the confidence to write your story.
That's a great point.
Absolutely.
Excellent point.
It's just different. Like, no friends to distract me, and even I was a bit lonely down there. I won't say lonely because that
you were lonely because your ass called me about come back.
I wasn't lonely at the in regards to
she was lonely. Trust me,
I was lonely a bit.
Dictated that
they did come, but at the end of the day, I realized I was telling Simone to come back all the time, and I would do it in a very, very childish voice.
Come back. I'm lonely.
But I think after those, after a couple of days of telling Simone to come back,
and I didn't,
and she didn't, but she eventually did. After telling her to come back and really getting over that over a couple of days, you realize what your true purpose is. Okay, at the end of the day, I need to focus because I don't want December to come here and me, saying, damn, in September I really should have kind of
done more
because that will eat you alive. It ate me alive.
So I would like you to, because I told you today that you were going to be sharing a little bit of personal with you today. You will be, but I want people to understand what you were going through while you were in this last semester, because that's very, very important. We're gonna go into probably our next segment too, but I want you to start with some of the events that were happening in your life while you were in school and how you were still able, again, to stay focused. I know the stories, but I want you to share that story out there because there are a lot of people like you who may be like, should I go back to school? Should I not go back to school?
That's a hard decision.
What should I do? Is it worth pursuing my dream now? I'm 20-something years old. Is it still worth it? With everything else in life happening. So talk about some of the things you were going through. Mention one or two, and then we'll go into detail when we come back.
Well, going back to school in September, it was exciting for me because I now knew that I was going to kill it. There's just a feeling. I'm like, I'm coming here and I'm going to destroy these courses. I'm going to destroy everything because now I have the tools that I need. But obviously, life doesn't work that way. It's not that easy. And there's a lot of things that you go through and you realize that certain people in your life, they don't understand that you need to really focus. And then you have family issues that you never thought in a million years would come up.
Are we gonna do some details?
No, we'll think about it.
Okay, so when we come back, we're gonna go into a little bit more details and some of the struggles that people may face during this time, right?
Absolutely.
See you guys soon.
Think you have what it takes to bring value to the community? The TCN-TV network is expanding and now accepting TV show proposals. Here's an opportunity to build celebrity status and become part of an elite group of community advocates that are focused on building, strengthening, and empowering our community in a positive way. Are you interested in embarking on a new adventure? TCN-TV is searching for people interested in opportunities to change the conversation and pave an unforgettable legacy. If you feel you have something of value to offer, send a written show proposal to shows@mytcntv.com.
Come, we're back.
I'm sitting between these two individuals, and you don't even know what's going on behind closed doors right now.
Actually, you do not.
Oh my God.
Fun times always.
Listen, it's nearly New Year's Eve, man. Like,
No.
this
New
is
beginning.
this is our year-end show, and I couldn't find a better person to end our year with than with my team members. Like, alongside what she's doing, Brittney handles all of my Windsor. So Here to Help, actually, again, we'll say this, has broken out into Windsor. So she
Go ahead and throw
handles...
up your W's. Go ahead.
I'm not throwing that up again. I learned my lesson.
I have to adjust this finger because it doesn't stay by itself.
Well,
it doesn't catch by itself. But the west side, the southwest side is the best side. So she'll be handling all the Here to Help operations in Windsor.
Yeah.
So alongside work and obviously the obligations of her position with the company, like, again, I don't think I would want to be doing this show with anyone else but with you guys, because you guys are like my rock stone. You see it?
Not any type of stone, but the
Just
rock stone.
Or rocks. I've never understood that. So a rock and a stone, are they not the same thing?
Well,
Has anyone asked their parents about this?
There's a science difference there.
A stone is kind of like a pebble. It's small. Where a rock can be.
A rock is bigger, right?
Yeah.
A rock stone?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
I get it now. I still don't get
You
it.
still don't get it?
So, Miss Brittney, I've been telling you since we're going to do the shows, like, I'm going to get at you. Because you know what? Like, again, something people don't understand is that in everyone's struggle, you only see sometimes what people show you. You don't ever really know what's really happening behind closed doors. When I say closed doors, I mean behind what's happening with them, right? They show you something, but there's something else going on. And sometimes some of us, and this is something that's normal, you can disagree or agree, we don't take the time to find out what's going on with people in our lives.
Right.
We just assume, or we get in our feelings because we feel entitled, and we're so full up in ourselves that we don't take the time to see that, you know what, maybe this is not about us, maybe about me, maybe this is about them. Maybe I should take a few minutes and take a step outside myself and figure out what's going on. So
I wish people did that.
in saying that, not drawing any cards or throwing any shade, I want you to, through shade hard. No, I want you to, and my mom says something. The only dog that barks is the one that gets hit. Besides if they hear other dogs. I was going to ask my mom about that whole thing. What if they hear other dogs barking? Do they bark too?
I think so.
Long story short, though, if a dog get licked by a cat...
Who would carry the stick? Is that right?
Yes! You know what I'm saying?
This is what we're doing right now?
So much patience.
So, Brittney,
Yeah.
I want you to talk your talks. Do not hold back. I would like you to feel that you have all authority to tell your story. And don't be apologetic about it, because there's no need to. Bona fire on everybody. Okay?
I get you.
Dave's looking at me like, yes, burn fires.
All the fires. Yes. Blaze
Juan.
everything.
So yeah, as I was saying in the last clip, that life literally throws you curveballs, and if it was easy as going back to school, acing a couple tests, then that wouldn't be life. It'd be too boring. So
Curveballs, talk curveballs.
I got curveballs thrown at me. I'm done. I'm gonna speak to Dave.
You
on
can speak to
this.
me now?
Yes.
Okay. So for me there, I'm
Oh my
feeling left
God.
out because you turn it to your left all
I'm
the
sorry.
time.
I'm gonna turn like this way.
You
and
turn
I'm
this
gonna
way now,
address
right now?
you.
You address me? I appreciate it so much.
So yeah, I had a lot of curveballs thrown at me. As soon as school started, it was great for the first 3 weeks, and then boom, the first thing I had to deal with is that I got sick, and this wasn't just your average sick, and this happened right after midterms. I was kind of second guessing myself. It was my first midterm in 5 years, and I relied on your support. I was like, what if I can't do it? What if this is not for me? But after I got over that, I got the flu and I caught strep throat at the same time. Now,
Double whammy.
yeah.
Clowning.
So, and it was terrible. It was very terrible because I didn't leave my bed for like 8 days. I was horribly sick, but I was just like, maybe I'm pushing myself too hard. Like, I want it so bad that I infected myself with not one, but 2 infections.
But there was something else going on with you at that time.
There was
more.
Which
Which is what causes sickness, because what a lot of us don't realize that sometimes when we are so stressed out, our bodies will be the first person to tell us, and it will break down.
Yeah. So there's that, but even before that, let's just say the last 3 years haven't been the most positive. They've been positive, but it's taken work to get there. And one of the main things that really affected me in the last 3 years is a situation where I was in, and it's like sometimes like I've kind of rose above it, but like it's hard to talk about. But I know there's so much people who talk about it. But it was a situation I was in about, quite frankly, maybe 3 years ago, and I was involved with an individual who I thought were on the same page, and we weren't. And I felt humiliated. I felt that I was made a fool of, and unlike most people who are able to get over it in record timing, I felt like this anger from this interaction with this individual followed me for 3 years, and it was terrible. It was terrible because it consumed me. It ate at me, and it ate at me strictly because I didn't get the closure that I wanted, and I didn't get to say exactly how I felt to this person. So it ate at me for years. I walked around this earth for the last 3 years angry. If I had a bad day, the entire week was going to be bad because it consumed my life. It consumed my soul. It took away my peace. And I just needed to find a way to close this. And this was one of the most difficult things that I had to do.
Understandable.
I was dealing with that because I needed to find a way how I could reach out to that person and get my life back.
Yeah, understandable.
Yeah.
Dave, I don't know if you can speak on this. You probably can a little bit on the role that relationships can play in your life. That if you're not good in your relationship or relationships with people, how hard that can affect you.
Think of it as this, right? Every relationship, every family should be considered as a small nation, right? And if there's a rift in that nation, then your interactions with other nations, other families are going to be the same. Right? It's sad to know that, of course, something like this has happened, right? But once again, this is life, right? It can't always, of course, be the hills or the peak towards, right? You're going to have, of course, our valleys in life as well, right? My question to you is this. Now, of course, with everything that has happened, right, and especially dealing with school, right, and dealing with this as well, right, and of course, now you're starting to feel, of course, the burden, right?
Yeah, and this
like
is just only like one or two things. Doesn't even describe, which we'll most likely get into everything, you know?
So now, what are the steps that you've taken, right, to go ahead and lessen this burden, right, or take the rocks, so to say, out of the backpack to go ahead and lighten the burden?
Honestly, and I'm going to be 100% honest, I relied on Simone a lot for that. And
oh Lord, that was a bad choice.
No, honestly, to her it was maybe a bad choice, but to me it was one of the things that I really needed. She taught me so much, and I really utilized her to get my energy back up. And she taught me some things, and she taught me that you have to find a way to remove negativity out of your mind. Being negative, that's energy.
Right.
When you choose, and being negative is a choice, and that's what I learned. When something happens to you, whether regardless if it's,
Absolutely.
you know what I mean, you're not expecting it to happen to you, yes, you're shocked, but that period to get over it, I hear, is not long. And once that period passes, anything after it is self-infliction.
Okay.
So when you choose to be angry past this duration period where your body's already recovered from, I don't know, whatever it is that you may be going through, you're purposely putting yourself in a position where your entire surroundings is negative. You're purposely, blocking your blessings by being negative. That's you. It's not about that other individual who did you wrong. It's about you now. And that's the first thing that I realized, because I realized I'm here harboring away, mad at the world for what one individual did to me 3 years ago.
Right.
And I'm mad as hell at the world. I'm punching, I'm screaming. I blame it all on this individual. I blamed it all on him. And I shouldn't have. I had maybe the first 2 months, I could have blamed him.
Yeah.
Okay.
But the next 3 years, that's all me. I did that to myself. I made myself sick, and I put myself in situations where my blessings were blocked. So you have to find a way to get rid of that negativity, and that's what I've learned, and that helped me. Once I removed the negativity in that spectrum, that's something, and that's one of the most powerful things, because if you're negative, you can't get rid of any other blocks that's on your shoulders. So once you start thinking positively, you realize your burden is not as heavy as you think it is. That's my thing.
Oh my God, she's learning. So again, we'll be back. It blesses my soul to hear this. When we come back, we're going to learn a little bit more with Brittney Channer. See you guys soon.
This holiday season, be sure to pick up your copy of the Toronto Caribbean newspaper and check out all the specials from local businesses right here in our community. Help build a bigger, better, and stronger community with your support. Happy holidays from the Toronto Caribbean newspaper. Available at your favorite Caribbean location or online at torontocaribbean.com.
So I'm fully going to be Instagramming and
Can you stop?
Good decision.
hi. So I'm Instagramming.
We're back.
So
and
everybody
she's
listen.
Instagramming.
Anyone who's watching, and I know Brittney has a lot of fans. She doesn't think she has a lot of fans, but Brittney has a lot. That's how her mom calls her.
Stop it. Stop
Brittney.
it. Stop it.
Brittney has a lot of fans. So if you have any comments, if you have anything to say to Brittney, if you have any questions to ask, and you know what? I'm telling everyone now, right here, this is going to be everything legally we need in our community. She's going to save me a lot of legal bills. She's going to save Dave a lot of legal bills. Probably Grant, too. So, like, pay attention to what this young woman is saying, because she's young, but she is fire. Girl, we have some theories we're going to break on. So, listen, all this education that she's gotten, I told her, look, you got to share some of it, right? So, we're going to be doing some sharing. But let's talk about a few of the things that was going on with you during your growth. And the last segment was very powerful because you talked about that negativity and getting that off your back, and how, I'm going to say this, I appreciate the fact that she has said, you know what, Simone, you were here. But I'm going to say one thing. If you are not willing to listen and take counseling, you will not grow. One thing I like about this young lady is the fact that she listens. If I tell her something, she doesn't try to be hard-headed and act like she knows better, because she realized she just doesn't. No offense.
I don't. No, I'm willing to admit that I didn't know better.
And she listened. And every single time we had our discussions, she listened. And when she practiced, what would happen, Brittney?
It would literally come out the way exactly that I wanted it to.
I'm no genius. I just know from what I've gone through.
Yeah.
That's all. Dear, voy a hacer.
Peace and love, family. All right.
So our Instagram, Dave is a man of little words. But just like a politician, like, he kisses babies and...
The glove did not fit. The glove did not fit.
Which glove?
If you know,
That's exactly it. Yes.
I didn't know him when the glove was fitting. I'm just saying this right now. I only
if it
met him
doesn't
like
fit,
2
you
years
must
ago.
have quit. That's the best OJ. Well,
Yeah,
Johnny Cochran.
Yes, the last defender
best
of the black people.
lawyer
You know what I'm saying?
on the
Her-
face.
that's
I'm the
her-
next
her-
Johnny
yeah.
Cochran. Okay.
Her name is Janithwa.
Stop it. Stop
Right.
it. Stop it. With Brittney Channer.
Janithwa.
Brittney.
You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying?
Channer.
She's
So some respect on the name. You know what I mean?
Alan Cochran.
Yeah, man.
Bye. Bye.
So let's talk about some of the things that, again, you were talking about the fact that you're dealing with sometimes, you were dealing with a negative situation. You're dealing with the fact that you were sick, still got A's, mind you. Still got A's on her exam.
Yeah.
Studied through the sickness.
Yeah.
And got A's on her exams.
Yeah.
What about some of the other things that were happening? And you know, you don't have to go into details, but I want
Yeah.
people to understand where you were when you were still doing what you need to do,
Yeah.
staying focused.
I just reconnected with my father, and people who know me, that I haven't had a relationship with him in years. And I think, as I described with this relationship or this interaction that I held with this individual 3 years ago, it stemmed from not having a relationship with my dad. And I thought, I always used to say to myself, yo, I'm not one of those girls. I'm not going to use that excuse. But I realized I really needed it. So we actually reunited, and he actually took my stuff. Like, we moved me to Windsor. And I told him I've never been so proud of him, because that's something that was very important to me, and I couldn't allow anything to go wrong. So that's something that I was going through. We're just trying to build a relationship. Now, people be like, that's nothing. I'm like, yo, when you don't know your father, or you know him, but you just have such negative views about an individual, and you're trying to, tear all that down and start from scratch. It's hard. It's very hard, because you got people in your own ear telling you not to trust them, and then you just want to believe them for the 39th time that he's changed. But regardless,
Why was that the number? 39.
Listen, because it's probably accurate, okay?
It was accurate.
Right?
So there's there's that issues, and then there's friend and family issues, like it's hard, man. Like, and I know Simone told me she's gonna call me out, and I told her, I'm gonna be humble about it. But when I decided to make the decision to go back to school, I said to myself, nothing is stopping me. Nobody's stopping me. Simone always told me, protect your dream. And I never used to understand why she said protect your dream. Of course I'm protecting my dream. It belongs to me. But it's not about protecting from yourself. You got to protect it from everybody else out there who may not necessarily want you to go after that dream, because that time dedicated to that dream takes away their time. Or it takes away
your time.
The role that you play in their life.
That's right.
And, I always tell people to read the book, The Alchemist. And when I read that book, it changed my life. That book actually started me on the path.
Tell them how we found that book.
Okay. Oh, let me tell you how we found that book. Windsor. I'm telling you. So I remember in my mind before we went to Windsor, The Alchemist kept on playing in my mind. Alchemist. I always hear it's an amazing book. And then after we were in Windsor, me and Simone were in Windsor at the time, and she stopped at a convenience store. So I'm just waiting in the passenger seat, and she comes back into the car and she goes, "Oh my gosh, I got a book." And I'm here thinking, okay, cool, you got a book. And she goes, "It's The Alchemist." I'm like, oh my goodness, the title of this book has been playing
$4.99 in a convenience store in Windsor, and it was the only book on the counter.
Yeah.
Only book on the counter was The Alchemist for $4.99. I'm like, I can't pass this up.
That's an amazing
and I
book.
legit passed that book to everyone in my circle to read.
Yeah, and I read that book, and that book started my journey on. After I read that book, I was like, I quit my full-time job downtown that people thought I was crazy. I started writing my LSATs, and I was like, listen,
You're working in the community. Don't take away from the work that you do. You've done a lot of work in this community, Brittney.
Yeah.
You are acknowledged in this community. So don't take away from that.
Yeah,
okay?
you know, it's the humbleness in me.
I understand. Like, you put in hours. For those people who talk about community hours, you put in more than community hours.
Yeah.
Right? So go ahead, talk it out.
Absolutely. So I read that book, and one thing that really, really got to me is when the author started talking about friendships. And in that book, it said sometimes conflict happens. Conflict arises due to friendships, because sometimes unconsciously your friends, and not all friends do this, but sometimes your friends create a role for you in their lives. They're going to say, okay, Simone's my friend. How is she going to play her role in my life? And I think about that role, not knowing that Simone is her own person, right? That if she wants to play a role in my life, that's nothing to do with me, has everything to do with her, right? So I create all these things for her, not knowing that she's her own person. And when she's not fulfilling the role that I have set forth for her, that's when conflict starts. So I feel like a lot of people wanted me to be stagnant. I felt like I was the third wheel friend.
Speak it. Don't hold it back, Brittney. I see you holding it back. Speak your truth.
I don't know. I feel like sometimes some friendships made me feel like the third wheel friend. I was just there to be there. Like, I was just one of those friends. I think that's how they made me feel. That I was just a third wheel friend, a friend to just serve a purpose where I'm just there. Whenever they need me, whenever they need to call somebody, whenever they need to make themselves feel better, I was that friend that just came. And you know, there was a time where I did run to certain people because I had the time. But the minute I decided to say, it's time for me to get this goal done or achieve this goal, it started taking me away from these friends. It started taking me away from certain people. And people don't like that. And instead of saying, okay, you know what, she's going after a dream, so she's going to not be around as often, but if my friend is happy, then I'm happy. They started taking it personally. And that's something that you're going to have to deal with when it comes to achieving your goals, being in school, and literally going after what you want. People are going to take offense at the fact that you're not around, right? So that's something that I was dealing with, and I used to take it personally all the time. But then once I realized, you know, people are going to be people. And at the end of the day, regardless of their insecurities or their projections, that has nothing to do with me. Because at the end of the day, I still have a job and a task that I need to achieve, right? So this is something that I was definitely going through, and it really... I don't know, it just...
You have to look at Dave, because Dave will get in his feelings.
I'm not in my feelings.
Because Dave will get in his feelings. You don't look funny.
I don't know, it's just... You gotta push past it. Yeah, you gotta push past all of it, because I'm a Libra, and I tend to a lot of characteristics for my Libra. I need to be balanced. And one little thing can push me off the edge and have me there for weeks, months. So it's just like, once I realize how people can be and how selfish people can be, and there's two different types of selfish, right? I always never knock an individual for being selfish, right? Because you should care about yourself, self-care. But there's a negative aspect to it too. So you need to understand which characteristic are you attributing to yourself. But nevertheless, you have to be selfish sometimes. You have to take back your life. And I realized I was living for people, and they're what they wanted. And I'm like, I'm here just wasting time, not living for what I wanted. So I didn't care if my time, I took away their time, because my real friends will understand the bigger picture, and it's all for the bigger picture. And once I realized that, I'm like, I'm done. If you want to go, just go.
So now that you're gone, when we come back, we're going to talk about some things that she needs to talk about to help our community. And this is why you've been away from people for so long. It's the bigger picture, everybody. Big up yourself. Here to help you.
Discover the incredible India.
Welcome back, everybody. So to the last segment, if you are just joining us, Dave, actually, how about you kind of review the last segment? I ain't saying no more. I'm done. What's been going on in the last 3 segments? Talk your talks, Dave.
Talk by not talks for talk.
Go on, talk. What's been happening in the last 3 segments?
You see, we've been here with our good friend, you know, our partner in the struggle, our comrade Brittney Channer, right? And she has been describing some of the situations that she has been going through since this past little while, right? And including, of course, a situation with an individual, right? Which pretty much hampered your life for the good past of 3 years, right? So now you've been describing your feelings. You've been describing, of course, your strengths, right? And of course, all on top of that, you're in school.
Yeah.
Right? And you're studying one of the most complex subjects that Western society could ever come up with, and this is law.
Yeah.
Right? So I mean, if nobody has told you this, right, you have a lot more resolve than you may have considered before. Because now when you look at of course, let's go ahead and look at, of course, the past 3 years. And you know what? To be honest with you, right, as much as you feel, right, those past 3 years and those negative feelings that you're harboring, right, there's still a strength there to go ahead and continue with your day-to-day. Because it's easy to go ahead now, right, and I'm not doing this, or I'm not doing this, I'm not leaving my room, or you know what? You can easily fall off the deep end from those feelings. So there's a strength there, right, that you displayed to go ahead and carry, if not continue on with your day-to-day basis, looking for some normality, and of course in your everyday existence.
Absolutely.
Right? And now, of course, now you head to school, right? And not only did you head to school, of course, now you have other situations, other potholes in your law which sort of come up now.
Absolutely.
Right? It's sort of like that fork in the road. You either go left, right, or straight.
Absolutely.
Right? And you keep plugging and keep plugging and keep plugging, and you had a successful year.
Yeah, I did. I'm very proud of myself. I'm proud of myself.
Right. So if I'm going to ask you probably one more question before we get into, of course, the law side of things for this last segment.
Potatoes.
Thank you.
You're
Thank
welcome.
you. Right. I'm going to ask you this. What was the biggest thing that you learned about yourself throughout this whole semester with everything that was going on?
That's a very good question.
That's a great question.
That's an amazing
Big
question.
up yourself,
Big up yourself for that one.
Rankin.
If I...
We don't know you know. We just do the
That was
jobs.
really
You see me?
good.
Your jobs, it's just
That was
one
good.
job.
No,
You're
for
Jamaican.
sure.
Continue.
But if I had to think of something, it's hard to think about, but if I have to give you something, I would say that I learned that I have strength. And I have even more strength when I have positive energy around me. If anything, I've learned about my strength and how much I can take. And I've also learned about the impact and the importance of having positive energy around you. My good friend Chanel, she has her own podcast called L&L, and what she does is she big up yourself, Chanel.
Big up yourself, Chanel.
And
go on with Chanel.
She always used to tell me, Brittney, and you too, energy is transferable.
Yes, it is.
She said,
it cannot be created or destroyed.
No. And she told me this yesterday. She goes, Brittney, energy is transferable. And once you realize that you have negative energy around you, now you're at a point where you have the choice to choose to be around it or choose not to be around it.
Right.
And for me, that is a lot. Like, for me, that's where I feel like I've improved the most, because now I'm choosing positive energy because I've seen what it does when it works in my life, right? I've seen what it can do when you literally decide to say, you know what? I don't care if you're family. I don't care if you're a friend. I don't care if I've known you since you're 3 or I was 3. You have bad energy and I don't need to be around that. So I can tell you, we can go our separate ways. To me, that's strength, and that's what I have been able to do, and I'm proud of myself, because to me, before I used to chase it. I didn't want people to leave me, right? I didn't want my friends to leave me. But now I'm able to choose energy over anything. And it doesn't matter if you're my friend. It doesn't matter if you're my foe. It doesn't matter if you're my family. It doesn't matter anything. I'm choosing to be around good people and be around positivity, because when I'm positive and when I have positive energy, I go further. I've gone so much further in these last 4 months being positive. And don't get me wrong, you'll have your bad days, right? But I've gone so much further in these last 4 months than I did in the last 3 years. And I'm not discrediting myself, because like you said, I've done a lot in the community. And I made the decision
to do it,
to get out of bed and to do these things, even when I didn't feel like doing it. But in regards to going after my dream, believing in my dream, being around people who believe in my dream, being around people who won't block me from achieving my dream, that's the difference. That's the difference. And I've done all of that in 4 months, and compared to the last 3 years. And to me, that's everything. It's going to do a lot for me in the future, because I don't have to purposely harm myself.
Big up yourself. We have about 3 minutes. Let's just give tell them what you've learned. Quickly, let's just give them. We have 4 minutes. Tell people what you've learned.
Well, when I used to come on the show,
we have some slide.
Maybe.
We have slide.
Maybe.
Jordan, we have slide.
Jeez.
No, you tell me.
We have slide.
Listen,
let me just
would you allow her to go ahead and go through what she needs to go through?
Slide.
But we always used to go over some things that were of a criminal nature. So I wanted to keep on that, that field, because I learned a lot of criminal law while I was in school.
We're black, and that's all laws are made for us. Let's just be real. Continue.
So one thing that I learned about in class was,
am I wrong?
The law wasn't meant for us. It wasn't meant for us.
No, it was made for us in the sense that everything we've done is wrong. Yeah.
Oh, in that
they created laws around our culture.
Absolutely.
All right.
But when it comes to the advancement of us succeeding, they didn't make it for us. It was never for us. Not to advance, at least.
Jim Crow.
Yep, but that's for another topic and another show.
Another day.
But I learned a lot about, we learned about different theories in class, and one of these theories that we learned was called the social disorganization theory, and that was raised by McCaw and Shaw and McKay.
We have a slide?
Do we?
We don't have a slide at the
moment. No one gave Jordan a slide?
Nobody gave Jordan a slide.
Jordan, I'm sorry. I was about to trace you out, and you don't even have a slide.
Why would you do something like that?
It's not your fault.
You see the blank look on my face?
I know you look. I'm sorry, guys. We don't have no slide. It's okay.
But we're gonna review this on another show, and I want everybody to really, if you were really interested in looking this up, Google, social disorganization theory by Shaw and McKay. Okay, and this basically says that criminality or criminals or people do not commit crime because they are necessarily criminal or because of the individual per se. It says that crime happens because of disorganization within a neighborhood, right? Because there's disorganization in a neighborhood, that's why crime happens, right?
Okay.
So they usually refer to it as the ecological analysis, but ecological is referenced in regards to or referenced as a region, neighborhood. Right?
Okay,
so that's why those two go hand in hand.
Can you give us a quick example?
Okay, so for example, everybody knows about the infamous Jane and Finch. And everybody in class in Windsor knew about Jane and Finch. And
Oh yes.
oh yes, everybody knows about
yes.
Jane and Finch.
Yes.
And but
we have picture.
yeah, but this theory, if we're gonna use Jane and Finch as an example, we're gonna say that, you know, that neighborhood is not a, you know, at risk or criminality born area because of the people. It's because of the community itself, the area.
Yeah, the
The
environment.
geographical area of where it is, that's what causes people to commit crime. So because there's and you may ask, what causes social disorganization? Well, it can be lack of proper schools, it can be lack of, you know, religious institutions, it can be the community itself, lack of resources, but it's not based off of the individual.
Okay.
Right?
So individuals then commit crimes not because of who they are.
It's because of
the
environment that they live in, the community.
Okay.
That's why it's called the social disorganization, because it's due to the disorganization within the community, it spawns people to commit crimes.
So I'm gonna say this: we're not gonna finish off all of this.
No.
But Brittney will be back.
Yeah.
She's down with us until the 15th, and then you're heading back to Windsor
Yeah.
to continue Here to Help.
Yep.
Progress.
Yes.
And our goals. What we'll say this is now, when you come back next time, what can people expect to hear from you? What are you going to teach everyone when you come back?
I'm going to teach you more theory and more things that will make you see how the law has been set up in Toronto. Because the more you learn, the more how you can actually get an ideal.
More how?
Yes.
You can
More
get
times.
you get some type of realization as to how society has been built.
More how?
More how.
More
Yes,
times?
more times and more
times.
how. Left me.
More
Good.
times.
So done.
Thank you, everyone. Dave, send everyone a Happy New Year's, please.
We
Happy
wanna-
New Year,
We
everyone.
want to wish everybody a safe and happy New Year. Whatever it is that you're doing, have fun, right? And definitely be safe and don't hurt nobody.
And achieve those goals.
We see y'all next year, y'all. Peace
See
and
everybody-
love.
I was trying to do the West Side. See everyone
No.
next year. Bye.
Bye, guys.
Peace and
Happy
love,
New
family.
Year.